The deadline to file your tax return is getting closer and closer, and a recent report found 1 in 4 Americans don't feel prepared to file their taxes, and almost 30% say they do procrastinate doing so. So if you haven't filed yet and you need some help, we brought in an expert today. I'm joined by Dan Casey, financial advisor at Bridge River Advisors. Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
Always great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
So we talk about tax day. When is the deadline?
April 15th.
It's coming right around the corner.
It is. And most people, again, like those statistics, think it's April 18th because that, a while back it was extended. So it's April 18th. So don't be that person who's in line at the post office on, at 11:45.
and kind of waiting. And for those that do procrastinate, I inherited that gene. We kind of wait till last minute. What are some of the things we need to know if we're going to really kind of push the envelope toward that deadline?
Yes, so making sure you have all your paperwork and even a good checklist is always smart, right? To make sure that you've got everything. If your income and expenses are pretty much going to be the same as last year, it shouldn't be that overwhelming, right? It should be the same kind of stuff, same documents that you need to get together. And then, the Tax Pro software, that does a great job, too, of stepping you through everything you need to know. Or if you're using a tax preparer, they love it when you just drop off a box of receipts and all that stuff and let them deal with it. But that is a solution, just to let someone else deal with it so you don't have to. Because you kind of put your head in the sand if it's something you don't want to do.
It is. You just kind of delay and delay. So what if we get to that point where, okay, it's coming too soon and we're not ready? How do we do an extension? What is the process?
Yeah, so you got to file the form, the necessary form, include the state form as well, so you can do both. And then you automatically get a 6-month extension. But I think what most people don't know necessarily is you still have to pay the tax bill.
Okay.
So you've got to pay the tax bill, and then if you're grossly under, you have to pay interest on it as well. So you're not escaping paying the tax bill. You're just escaping getting in the necessary documents. So
a bit of a penalty then if you're.
Yeah, not necessarily. Well, yes, if you're under payment. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So how do we maximize some of our things like our deductions like HSA and IRAs and things like that?
Yeah. So I think I still have met someone who came into my office who was unsure that you could deduct your IRA contribution. So it does get a little tricky depending if you have a company plan that you're contributing to and your income, but most can deduct your IRA contributions, traditional IRA, obviously not Roth IRA, but yeah, you can deduct those contributions often, and then HSAs are great. HSAs are triple tax breaks. So you're deducting your contribution. It's growing tax deferred if you have one that you can invest. And then if you take it out for a medical expense, there are no taxes either. So there's very few triple tax breaks that you can get. HSA is a great one.
Okay, and even itemizing has changed in recent years too.
Yes.
Unfortunately, for someone like my job, I can't rely on that as much anymore. It's still like that, I assume?
Yes, it is. So the Trump tax plan got rid of our personal exemptions and just gave us one big standard deduction. So you have to itemize to get above that standard deduction. So yeah, that's where you've got to really make sure you're itemizing all, and go ahead and Google like top missed deductions. And there's a lot of things, like if you're traveling because you're volunteering, you can write off mileage for that. So it helps trigger some of the things that maybe you're missing that hopefully maybe you can get above that standard deduction.
Perfect advice, thank you. And we need your advice. Where do we find you?
Probably the best way is the website, bridgeriverllc.com.
Perfect. It's all right there on the screen. The phone number, 248-785-3734 as well. We always have this on our website at wxyz.com if you miss it. So, Dan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in.